And welcome to Newsroom Live on this Thursday evening, a week ahead of Thanksgiving. The busiest travel holiday of the year will be Wednesday. Thanks for joining us on Newsroom Live. You're looking at a live picture, of course, of Midtown Manhattan as our city gets ready for the holiday season. I'm Sharon Crowley. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We have a jam-packed show. I know I say it every night, but I'm telling you again tonight, so much is going on, not the least of which the mayor-elect is meeting with President Trump in Washington, D.C. tomorrow, and we have a crew on their way following them there to report for us on exactly what they have to say. It should be very interesting. Fireworks in the Oval Office tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. But first, we have some breaking local news to tell you about. A very, very sad story out of Brooklyn, New York, in Canarsie. We're going to go live right now to Kendall Green, where a baby was found abandoned in a trash can. Kendall Green on the ground for us now. What can you tell us?
Hey, what's going on, Sharon? Definitely a grim discovery this morning. It happened around 11 o'clock here in Canarsie, Brooklyn. And since it happened around 11, neighbors wasted no time trying to pay some homage to this child that was discovered, the newborn baby. They've got candles, they've got balloons, teddy bears out here to just try to console, keep the situation, just share their sympathy for anybody involved. But we've learned so far since we've been out here, we can walk here, that the baby was discovered right here on the back end of 1580, right here in this building. And so far, we have video of what this scene looked like earlier when they first discovered this child. Police say after 11 this morning, they were called to this area in the block of 1580 East 102nd Street here in Canarsie. And when they arrived, they were informed by witnesses of an unidentified male infant found unconscious and unresponsive. Now, according to police, they discovered the baby boy, believed to be a newborn, in a black trash bag covered in a pile of leaves. And a few things that remain unclear at the moment is how long that infant was there, how that infant got here in the first place, along with who was responsible for putting that infant out in the cold in a trash bag. Now, Sky Fox was over the scene shortly after that discovery. We've learned EMS responded and pronounced the infant deceased here on scene. In the office of the Chief Medical Examiner's office, they will be determining the baby's official cause of death. But so far, police, they haven't made any arrests, and neighbors, especially moms and grandmothers here, they're just kind of struggling to unpack the news that they got just early this morning. Let's just take a listen to some of those interviews earlier.
Flipped out. Who the hell is gonna think there's gonna be a baby in a garbage bag? Not in a million years. You hear about it and you think about it, but when you actually see it, it's really bad. It's a sad feeling.
I mean, it's disgusting, that people would have to go to these extremes. If you need help, drop a baby off at a hospital in front of somebody's door. Don't just discard it. It's freezing out here. It's truly sad, and I hope they catch the person, the mother that did this.
Yeah, that is Kendall Green reporting for us from Canarsie, Brooklyn. Such a sad story. And, we have safe haven laws right here in New York City and in New York. Kendall, if you want to join us back in here, I was just telling our viewers,
Sure.
We have safe haven laws. You can drop a newborn. There are certain restrictions, of course, at a police department, at a firehouse, at a hospital. Just leaving a child, an unwanted baby, out in the cold like that. It's just awful, and it's heartbreaking.
Unbelievable.
When there are so many families that would love a child, love a baby, love to have a baby like that. It's just so awful. Do we know any more about the investigation?
Right. It's basically all police have told us is that it is under investigation. And the update that they gave us was this seemed to be a baby that wasn't yet at full term. And one of the ladies that we spoke with earlier, who was here on scene when NYCHA and a NYCHA employee actually discovered the child there, she said they found it in one of those like a grocery store black small bag. So you imagine, coming out here on scene and finding something like that, it just kind of breaks your heart, and it just awful. But what we pointed out, here, a couple of our colleagues, is there's a camera right there. Right here. So the baby was found here in this area. So we definitely expect an update from law enforcement to get to the bottom of who did this. There's cameras on the other side right here. We've seen some on this side as well. But yeah, just an awful situation. And there was definitely different ways to handle this. As you mentioned, the safe haven laws about here. There's a 24-hour firehouse within 20 blocks of this place. There's churches around here as well as a police precinct. So definitely had other options than take this route here.
All right. Well, Kendall Green, thank you so much for updating us on that report. I know you'll have another story for us coming up on the 10 o'clock news on Channel 5 tonight. Thank you very much.
Of course, of course.
And as I said, we have a lot to get to tonight. But before we do, we're going to come back in just after our quick short break, and we're going to talk about those Epstein files and that 30-day deadline the Department of Justice is under to release them. And we're also going to talk about Mayor-elect Mamdani's meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office tomorrow. Keep it right here. We'll be back after a short break. And welcome back to Newsroom Live. You're looking at a live picture of Midtown Manhattan Radio City Music Hall, where the Rockettes are underway. If you haven't seen the show, definitely recommend it. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sharon Crowley reporting to you from the Upper East Side, and I've got help tonight. There's Jonah. He's on keyboards there. And we have Brianna, wave, and we have a newcomer, Gabriella. She's bringing in our Zoom guests. And we have a secret surprise guest over here, which I'll introduce in just a second. Let's get to our top story, though. So tomorrow, we are told Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani is going to fly to Washington, D.C. to meet with President Trump in the Oval Office. And the reason this may surprise some is that President Trump was a vocal critic of Mamdani, falsely calling him a communist. He's a democratic socialist, not a communist, and also threatening to withhold federal funding from New York City if he was elected. So maybe they will bury the hatchet. Let's hear what Mamdani had to say about his visit tomorrow today.
I will be heading to Washington, D.C. tomorrow to meet with President Trump in the White House. It is customary for an incoming mayor of this city to meet with the White House, given the mutual reliance. It's more critical than ever, given the national crisis of affordability, one that New Yorkers know very well across these 5 boroughs, and the specific challenge many cities are facing with balancing public safety against steps taken by this administration. I know that for tens of thousands of New Yorkers, this meeting is between 2 very different candidates who they voted for the same reason. They wanted a leader who would take on the cost of living crisis that makes it impossible for working people to afford living in this city. My team reached out to the White House to set up this meeting because I will work with anyone to make life more affordable for the more than 8.5 million people who call this city home. I have many disagreements with the president, and I believe that we should be relentless and pursue all avenues and all meetings that could make our city affordable for every single New Yorker.
Okay, so that is what Mamdani says. He seems pretty conciliatory heading in to face off or be friendly with the president. We'll find out tomorrow. Our Morgan McKay is on her way to Washington, D.C. as well to report for us tomorrow night. She's going to do Politics Unusual live at 6:30. So we're looking forward, of course, to that and get the full rundown of what happened. Let's hear what President Trump didn't talk about it today, but White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt did. Let's hear what she had to say.
Thank you, Caroline. Is there anything that Mayor-elect Mamdani could say tomorrow that would ease the president's concerns about his future leadership in New York?
Look, I don't want to speak for the president or get ahead of this meeting that we are currently working on tomorrow. As you saw, the president put out a statement tomorrow that the mayor-elect will be coming to the Oval Office, and so our teams are arranging those details. I won't get into the president's thinking on it. I think you'll all hear from him directly. I also think I will just add, it speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people, whether they live in blue states or red states or blue cities, in a city that's becoming much more left than I think this president ever anticipated in his many years of living in New York himself.
You said that the president was going to do what was right for U.S. citizens, regardless of whether they lived in blue or red.
All right. That was White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. I'm going to bring right in now our Democratic strategist, political expert extraordinaire, and friend to Fox 5. We like a friend to Fox 5. Tripp, thank you so much, Yang, for joining us.
Absolutely, Sharon. It's always a pleasure. What else would I be doing on a Thursday night?
Nothing. This is the best place to be, especially if you're watching us on the Fox Local app or the Fox 5 NY YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and no smack in the chat. Okay, Tripp, business out of the way. What do you think this meeting, what can we expect from this meeting? And let's break it down for us. What does Mamdani need to get out of this meeting, and what does Trump need to get out of this meeting?
So this is a very customary meeting. When you have a new mayor-elect, it is very much tradition to go meet with the sitting president of the United States. We saw this a number of years ago when Mayor-elect Adams met with then President Biden around this time 4 years ago. And so this is something that always typically happens. Also, Donald Trump is actually a New York Queens boy. He's a Queens, New York City kind of guy, grew up in the city, obviously has taken an unusual amount of interest from a sitting president in New York City affairs. And so look, if you're the mayor-elect Mamdani, you are going down to D.C. to talk about affordability, cost of living. You have to.
And restoring the federal funding that Trump threatened to take away.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Sharon. He needs to talk about the federal funding, trying to prevent it from being cut, because a lot of New York City services are funded from the federal government. For example, law enforcement, housing, etc. Now, if you're President Trump, a little bit of a wild card in these types of meetings, but everyone who I know who actually has knowledge of how Trump engages in private conversations. He's actually very schmoozy in private.
All right.
If the subject, if the person and him connect on a personal level. Of course, I do expect Donald Trump to attack Mamdani when the cameras are on. That just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
But if you're the mayor, your job is to go in there, very businesslike, cut out distractions, and really make the best effort to advocate for the funding needs of New York City from the federal government.
One could argue they both ran on a populist message. In one, affordability, different groups of people they were targeting, but nonetheless. And they're also both very savvy when it comes to social media and connecting directly to their supporters. So maybe they have more in common than we think.
They both have Queens ties, but those similarities probably end there. Of course, President Trump, very, very different person, very caustic, pugilistic style. Zohran Mamdani goes into any room, smiles, charisma, talks to you like you could be a potential ally. But I'll say this. Here's where President Trump could use Mamdani's help. President Trump's numbers in polling with the American people are falling right now, especially when it comes to affordability, cost of living, the economy. Many will argue that in November 2024, Donald Trump successfully became president again because he argued, if you elect me as president, inflation will go down, egg prices will go down, gas prices will go down. It was all Joe Biden's fault. That was his argument. It was effective in 2024. But right now, his numbers are falling. Mamdani is the affordability agenda candidate of the moment. And by the way, polling has shown from coast to coast, New York to California, American people want to see their politicians and leaders address cost of living. And so Mamdani actually, in a lot of ways, can provide a lot of credibility on this signature issue.
Well, we will have to wait and see. We'll leave it there. Trip Yang, thank you so much for joining us on Newsroom Live tonight. We appreciate it and hope you'll come back again real soon. We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, another huge headline. Epstein, the Epstein files, of course, 100,000 or so of them. Jeremy Saland is waiting in the wings, lawyer extraordinaire, to give us his legal expert opinions. So keep it right here. And welcome back to Newsroom Live. Here's an inside look at the newsroom, the Fox 5 newsroom here on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And you can see I'm here with my team. We can wave to the cameras here. And all those screens in front of us are what's happening here in New York City, in the 5 boroughs, and all over the country. Anytime we see news breaking, we, of course, will go directly to it. So right now, though, I'm joined by one of my favorites, Jeremy Saland. I said Saland before, but I was incorrect. Jeremy, thanks for joining us tonight. You are a lawyer extraordinaire. Do you want to introduce yourself to our audience any other way as well?
Yeah, my mom thinks I'm the best lawyer.
Oh,
I'm a former Manhattan prosecutor,
right.
And I am a criminal defense attorney right here in Gotham.
All right, well, you are the perfect person to have a conversation with about Jeffrey Epstein. The files, President Trump just signed it late last night, and DOJ now has 30 days. We heard from Pam Bondi. She said, yes, we're going to follow the law. I always listen. They parse the language very, very carefully. Why do I mention that? Because there's 100,000 documents relating to his suicide, relating to his relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell, and all kinds of other things. And we all know he had powerful friends, including Prince Andrew. So talk to regular folks who didn't go to law school about how long, I know they have 30 days, but how much of this stuff are we really going to see, and how much of it's going to be redacted, and why?
Do not hold your breath. Do not expect a big dump of documents. Do not expect a windfall of information. It's simply not going to happen. This is really just a shell game and a sham. And why I say that, is because you don't need a judge to release grand jury minutes. You don't need Congress and the Senate to pass legislation. You need Donald Trump to simply say, this is the documents, these are the documents, and I'm going to release them. He has that ability. Yes, you would expect redactions. You don't want to show child pornography if it's there. You don't want to hurt victims and subject them to anything again. But let me just say this, Sharon, that the fact that there's a carve-out that says if it impedes or there's an ongoing investigation, an active investigation, we can withhold. Well, guess what? There was that DOJ and FBI letter that said we are done. There is no other investigation, only a few months ago. And now Donald Trump wants the DOJ to investigate Democrats. That's going to be his tool, his sword, to slay this legislation and not share anything. Because why? There's an active investigation, even though there really isn't.
And the survivors, we saw the survivors, Epstein survivors, women who say they were abused by him when they were underage teenage girls, lured by Ghislaine Maxwell and others to his private island and his jet and his homes here on the Upper East Side for untoward activities, etc. And those ladies are going to be very angry. They say they've been working decades to get the names of powerful men. Why don't they just say them out loud? Are they worried they could be sued?
I don't think it's so much about being sued. I think you have to sort of read between the lines here and not even do so. You were told that this was going to be very transparent, and now you're being told little to nothing. And now we're being told there's some Democrats that the Department of Justice, based on what Donald Trump wants them to do, to investigate, despite this being on for years and years and years. So you never want to throw anyone's name out there, certainly, because there is due process. And just the statement of that name, as we saw with Summers, who wasn't convicted of anything, the former Harvard president, that was epically damaging to him. So you want to be careful about what you say, because it could be true or it could not be true. But here we have a pause, and I don't expect us to get the information that the public really wants anytime soon, and certainly not full.
Will we learn anything, do you think? 100,000 files. I mean, there must be something in there that we didn't know already. I mean, I feel like I know enough about what Epstein is accused of. And what will we learn maybe about Ghislaine Maxwell? Because there's a lot of critics to the fact that she was got somewhat of a sweetheart deal to be moved to a cushier prison than where she was.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's going to be on lockdown, because that's internally within the Department of Justice. Where Trump's former attorney, who now is a senior person within the Department of Justice, met with Maxwell. I don't expect that to come out. There may be some evidence about what was going on without naming any particular child who was horribly victimized, where things occurred. And there could be some people who are named, but you're going to get sort of just the periphery, the edges, but the lacking of the substance. I say again, Sharon, I wouldn't hold your breath. I just don't think it's going to be there for self-preservation reasons, potentially, even though the president hasn't been accused of any wrongdoing in terms of a crime, but maybe some people close to him. We can speculate. We all want to see it to know.
And what about, we've been told that we may learn more about Jeffrey Epstein's suicide in a federal detention center in Lower Manhattan in 2019. We've all seen the tape, and then there's that gap in the tape, right, with the security guards and all of that. Do you think we'll learn anything else?
I'll say again, this is a tough spot for me to sit in. You have a Department of Justice that is withholding information and finding new avenues to deny that information to being shared. I'm suspect and suspicious. We want to see it. We want to know. The public wants to understand what actually happened, though I think that issue has been put to rest about whether it was a suicide or an inside job. But if it's there, I see no reason why it would not be shared other than active investigation.
Can Donald Trump do anything more than he's doing? It's been said a lot that he could release the files right now without having gone through Congress and the rest of it. Because won't this just continue to dog his administration forever and ever? I mean, if he doesn't do everything he can. I understand redacting the names of child sex abuse victims, obviously, and/or material related to that. But what about the names of other men who may have associated with Epstein or been accused of crimes as well?
Sharon, anyone who's watching this should have zero misgivings, no misgivings. Donald Trump has the ability to share those files far more completely than what he is doing now, which is little to none of substance. He does not need Congress. I said that when we first started. You don't need congressional legislation to allow the president to release those Department of Justice files. You don't need it there. You don't need a judge to go to, say, the grand jury minutes are released, because I would share with you again, whatever's in that little piece of grand jury is clearly within the greater files that Donald Trump has within his control. So the direct answer to your question, yes, he can. Why he's not doing it, we're going back to that speculation. He may have some involvement or people close to him, criminal or not, we don't know.
So lastly, I want to ask you about the 30 days. The Department of Justice has to do something right in 30 days, even if there is large chunks of it withheld.
Right.
Do you expect them to abide by that deadline, and would it happen tomorrow, or is it just simply too much paperwork to go through? Would they take longer?
Well, they've gone through that paperwork. Let's not be naive and foolish, right? They've looked. This is not their first rodeo with Mr. Epstein. I would expect that they would release something. And I would also expect that they're going to use the carve out to say we can't release more at this time. But I do think they'll comply, but I use that term very liberally and somewhat cavalierly, because they won't be compliant, but they will comply to the letter of the law to allow and share some information. But we're going in circles only because none of us know what they're going to ultimately do, but I think they're going to hold it tight to the chest.
All right, Jeremy Saland, we're going to leave it there. Comply, but not compliant. I'm going to remember that one. All right. Sounds like you did very well on your SATs. I'm enjoying that. All right, Jeremy, thank you so much. I hope you join us again real soon. We appreciate it. And we are going to take another quick break from our fast-moving streaming show. I'm Sharon Crowley, along with our team here, reporting to you live from the Fox 5 newsroom, getting ready for our 10 o'clock news on Fox 5 tonight. And up next, meteorologist Nick Gregory with your weekend forecast. Maybe even he'll tell us what's going to happen on Thanksgiving and how, if it's going to be windy for those parade from the big floats that go down the parade route on the Thanksgiving morning. Also, if you haven't done it, a very fun event. Keep it right here. We'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, welcome back to Newsroom Live. We are streaming for you on the, look how beautiful that is, right? That is, I don't know, that looks like a little bright for right now. It's pretty pitch dark, right, Nick?
Well, I think what it is it's close to the light at the top of the building.
I
which
gotcha.
tended to reflects on
All
the
right,
camera.
you're looking at a live shot outside New York City, and now you're looking
Ooh.
inside our newsroom. And here I'm joined with
Hello.
Nick Gregory, has meteorologist extraordinaire. Nick, what have you got for us? And Jonah is operating the keyboards here, so if you need something, just scream it out.
He has expertly already selected my weather graphics to
yeah,
show you, so we're ready to talk weather.
Good.
One of my favorite subjects. So we're going to be, we weren't, so badly off today, right? The weather was pretty decent. We had sun and clouds. Still, it was a little below average temperature-wise, right? We should be in the lower 50s. We only got to the upper 40s. Now here's the futurecast heading in towards tomorrow night and Saturday, just to give you a hint. So we're right on the edge of a storm that's off to our south. So we're going to get a little rain in here, Sharon.
Okay.
Later tomorrow, probably about 24 hours, 23 hours, 25 hours from now. And that's going to last into the first part of Saturday morning, and then things should get better for Saturday afternoon. And it's not going to be a lot of rain. I mean, you can see here, this is the rainfall computer model guidance. Very little, right? 0.2.
Are we still in sort of edge of a drought?
Yes. Yeah? Oh, yeah. We still need rain badly. And this is not going to help, right? There's just a little light rain. And again, the time frame is later tomorrow night on into Saturday morning. Now, tonight, it's going to be chilly, but not quite as chilly. I mean, 42 in the city, mid to upper 30s at the coast, and it's still a little cold in the suburbs, upper 20s, lower 30s there, but that's kind of typical. But notice we have clouds coming in, so the clouds are actually going to help keep the temperature up. It's kind of like a blanket for us, right?
It's good for walking around the city and having fun.
Yeah, and the clouds kind of keeps the temperature a little warmer. Now, tomorrow, we're finally back to the low 50s. But notice we're going to be cloudy much of the day. A couple of peaks of sun.
Okay.
Can't rule it out, but at least we're back in the low 50s. We haven't been there in several days, right? So
yeah, it's been
that's some improvement.
It's the wind.
Yes, but unfortunately we won't have too much wind either tomorrow. Like today and right now, the wind is calm out there. And here's a 7-day. So again, we're going to talk rain later tomorrow night, lasting maybe till 9, 10 o'clock Saturday morning.
All right.
And
tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. Okay.
And the sun is back Saturday afternoon, 53, not bad. Sunday looks good, 49. Monday, 54 looks good, but now the rain comes back later Tuesday into Wednesday morning. But look at Wednesday, we're over 60. Of course, Wednesday is the big travel day.
I know.
And Thanksgiving right now looks to be mainly sunny, windy, and cooler in the upper 40s. Just have to watch. One computer model is suggesting another storm might ripple up the coast on Thanksgiving Day itself.
Oh, dear.
So I'm
not
ready
worried about
to believe.
The balloons.
Yes, well, the wind could be a little strong on Thursday. We'll have to see how strong. I mean, we got a week away still, so a lot can happen. Would be nice now. Look at that. The winds are calm. That's what the zeros mean, right? Calm wind. Now here's the cloud cover coming up for tonight. You can see it's sort of moving in from the south and west here. So, so again, for Thanksgiving, we'll just have to see if that storm threatens us. But the other two computer models that I rely on are not suggesting that. So and so I've reserved the right to change that forecast.
I've told you this before, Nick, but my mother says you're the most trusted forecaster in the business. So, she says if Nick Gregory has said it, then that is the case. So she relies on you 100%, as should everyone out there.
I'll have to dig into the.
Okay, just
how much do you want for that?
Just a small tip for hosting. And next week you're going to be, sometimes this is our newsroom live, but it's it could be our turkey caster too. As we get ready for our
turkey. I like that. Something different.
That's right. Nick, thank you for joining me this evening. I appreciate it.
No problem.
We can watch you tonight on the 10 o'clock news on Channel 5.
Looking
and we're
forward to it.
Streaming, of course, at all times on the Fox local app. Just hit New York, or on Fox 5 NY on our YouTube channel, right?
We'll be there.
All right. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. We still have a lot of news to get to tonight. We're just warming up, so keep it right here, and we'll be right back. Thanks, Nick.
Okay.
Welcome back to Newsroom Live. You are looking at Radio City Music Hall, which brings me to something, if you haven't seen it yet, the Rockettes. They are celebrating their 100-year anniversary. And thank you for joining us again on Newsroom Live. As I said, Jonah is he's on the keyboards tonight. Wave to the fans, Jonah. You can turn around so they can smile and see you. Jonah wants us to look back at 100 years of Rockettes. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your Rockettes Fox 5 flashback.
It was 1925, 7 years prior to the opening of Radio City Music Hall, that the Rockettes first started kicking. And since their debut, they've become one of the most celebrated precision dance teams in the world.
Certainly one of the biggest elements that people come to see are the Rockettes. They're a major icon for the show, and their famous dance number, Parade of the Wooden Soldiers, which has been in the show in one form and another since 1933. And Russell Market created that to the original creator behind the Rockettes.
His vision was to have a line of American beauties with long legs, taller, and
A visit to the Radio City Music Hall, the world's largest indoor theater, where the Rockettes dance with unbelievable precision and accuracy.
At Radio City Music Hall, the Roxyettes became the Rockettes and found their home at last.
you could live inside the walls of the music hall and never have to go out. I mean, everything was there. We had a hospital, we had a cafeteria, we had a dorm. You could stay in the dorm, which a lot of girls from New Jersey and out of town did.
With Radio City as their home away from home, the Rockettes were able to perform, as they still do, in multiple shows a day.
We did 4 shows a day, 5 shows a day, 6 shows a day, whatever the picture warranted. With the audiences that were lined up outside, that's the number of shows we would be doing. And it was a bit strenuous.
We worked 7 days a week for 4 or 5, 6 weeks before we had a day off.
It's really very difficult. And especially to do almost 200 shows in 2 months, you have to keep that precision up. And it's a lot of stamina.
But it takes more than stamina to be a Rockette.
Can you believe how great she was? Wasn't she great, Alan? My sister was great. Incredibly great, but how could you tell which one she was? Alan, you know my sister. She was the tall, beautiful one with the long legs.
She's a Rockette. They're all tall and beautiful and have long legs.
With height requirements that almost guarantee long legs in perfect proportions, the Rockettes' trademarks are their famous eye-high kicks and their illusion of visual unity. How is that illusion achieved?
On our first day in, we'll all be lined up according to height, tallest girls in the center and the shorter girls on the end, and that will be our lineup spot for the show.
And the requirements don't stop there.
The thing I love to take credit is I was the first person to have the Rockettes to sing. Sammy Kahn, who came in, I wrote a lot of original music with Sammy. We wrote a number for the Rockettes called Alike. And it was a very, very wonderful number. They loved doing it because they'd never had a voice. Now that Rockettes to this day, they sing.
In 1971, Russell Market retired from the music hall. His immeasurable contributions are remembered to this day.
He was just a wonderful, special person. I mean, everyone felt that way about him. Unfortunately, he's passed away since then. But we all miss him, and we feel fortunate also that Violet Holmes, who I worked with at the theater, is the present-day choreographer of the Rockettes, and she has carried on his legacy.
And the legacy that Russell Market began in 1925 lives on in the hopes and dreams of the current Rockettes.
Well, I was fortunate enough to do 2 other shows on the Radio City Music Hall stage before I became a Rockette, and I remember the first time I walked out there to see what it was going to be like, my stomach literally dropped. It is bigger than I ever imagined it would be.
I felt as if I was in another girl's spot 20, maybe 30 years ago, and I was hoping and praying that I was giving out that same performance level that she was. I
was scared to death. But as soon as I got right out on that stage and I felt the lights and I could see the people in the audience, and knowing that there's almost 6,000 people sitting there watching me perform was the most amazing thing.
Love a Fox 5 flashback. Guess what? You can watch that and so many other topics because, of course, Fox 5 has been around forever and they've saved all of their footage. They have a really cool one on President Donald Trump when he was just Donald Trump, the New York City builder. And you can find that by going to the Fox Local app and the Fox 5. Am I right? The web page too? Just the Fox Local app. You can check that out. And our Fox 5 NY YouTube channel. There's just so much stuff there to look at that is just so interesting, especially with the perspective of time being at 2025 now, to look back and see how things were before cell phones, before computers. You know, people just had attitude. Anyway, it's pretty funny. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, the fabulous Richard Giacobbe is going to be reporting for us. We have a live interview with him coming up. Do you guys have a city bike? I mean, I know when Bloomberg was mayor, he built all these bike lanes. Arthur Chien's a big biker, our reporter. You know, he's always doing that. He's commuting that way. I, for one, am frightened to do that. I think I would just like tip right over. I got to stay on the steady bike. Anyway, we don't need to talk about that anymore. But if you keep it right here, we'll be back in 2 minutes and we will have a nice conversation with Richard Giacobbe and he's going to tell us what's happening. Keep it here. And welcome back to Newsroom Live. You're looking at Radio City Music Hall as we get ready to end our fabulous week on Thursday night. We hope you join us at 10 o'clock tonight for the Fox 5 News. We have reporters all over the area, all over the 5 boroughs and the Tri-State area covering local events for you. And we even sent a reporter to Washington, D.C. because Mayor-elect Mamdani is meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office tomorrow. There's the White House. President Trump said that Mamdani requested the interview and he accepted. So we'll see if the two titans of social media go head to head tomorrow. And if Mamdani convinces the president not to withhold federal funding from New York City, and maybe they can talk about things like the Gateway Tunnel and all kinds of things. So we're covering that for you. We'll have updates for you throughout the broadcast and let you know what's happening or if there's any breaking Truth Social posts. But right now, I'm Sharon Crowley reporting to you from the Upper East Side. And right now, I'm going to bring in Richard Giacobbe, my colleague and friend, reporter extraordinaire on the Upper West Side. to talk about city bikes. Richard, I'm reading that the cost of city bikes is the highest in the world. Why is everything so expensive?
Yeah, well, everything is more expensive in New York City. You took the words out of my mouth. Yep. Out of this city independent watchdog group, this budget office, the city independent budget office, I'll get that right. I'm still learning about this story because I'm not, I drive. So
that's true. That's true. I do know you drive.
But these, because I heard you say, I know Arthur would kill me.
No, and I walk.
Right.
I don't, or take subway or the bus.
Oh, you walk. Okay.
Yeah.
So, because I say in my story tonight, I'm like, well, we complain about the subways and buses, the taxi fares and Uber fares, congestion pricing, everything is up. And it turns out, well, even if you're on two wheels, you're still going to pay a lot. So that membership, that yearly membership, from when it started in 2013, that's when the city launched it. It was delayed because of, I think it was Hurricane Sandy, Superstorm Sandy that delayed the rollout. But by 2013, the summer of 2013, they launched this bike share program for $95 a year. It's now up to $220, 12 years later, more than 12 years later. That's a big number.
It is.
It's a 77% increase, according to this independent budget report, since it launched. And I think that, a lot of people, that's a lot of money for people to pay
it is,
per year.
But Richard, a gym membership is like $220 a month in New York City.
It can be. Yes, it can be. At certain places, it absolutely can be. So, we're talking to riders who are not so happy about that, and they see it. They know that it's going up, and they're old. But I don't know if they're really. What is the alternative? If you don't want to drive, if you don't necessarily want to take mass transit, if you can't be bothered with the buses, I guess this is your next best option. And, some people really have to go a distance where they can't walk it. So, there's a lot of, there's actually, I'm looking here. Hold on, because I'm doing this via Zoom, so I can flip the camera, right?
I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. Let's see what you're looking at.
So here. So yeah, those are the city bikes right there.
Oh, okay, a live picture. Thank you, Richard Giacomo.
And they're all there. Nobody, only the delivery bikes, the e-bikes are riding by. All the city bikes are left unattended tonight. Nobody's riding. I'm assuming they ride them more like in warmer weather. So
yeah, and I see a lot of tourists on those city bikes too. What kills me every time there, Richard, is that nobody's wearing a helmet. I mean, I know you can't probably rent a helmet because that wouldn't be hygienic, everybody be wearing the same helmet, but I don't know. It seems kind of crazy because it's dangerous. It's dangerous on these streets, and we know it's dangerous if you're a walker and you put your foot out there that's the first thing you have to learn.
Absolutely.
If you're new to New York City. Do not be fooled. You see that green strip and you put your foot out and you think you're going to step. You got to be like an owl, right, left, right.
I almost did it before.
Yeah. I mean, they'll take you out, and especially if there's like business on one side and the city bike's on the other side and you think you're just going to slide out there. No.
Definitely. No. But I'm very aware. You just have to be aware.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot. It's a big hike. And, I was reading that the contract with Lyft of the city is up in, I think, 4 more years.
Yeah.
And if the city wants to keep this more affordable, they have to start thinking about if they extend this contract, what's going to happen? I mean, is this going to keep going up every year? The cost of everything is up, so it would make sense that it does. But, our new administration wants to focus on affordability.
That's right.
So if the mayor is in office, which he still will be, I guess, and when that contract is up, Mayor-elect Mamdani, then maybe he tries to make a deal to lower the cost. That could be an accomplishment in his administration. We're getting a little bit too inside the weeds there.
Well, you and I often chew over politics. Mayor-elect Mamdani, as you heard me say, is going to visit President Trump tomorrow, who has called him wrongfully a communist. In fact, the mayor-elect is a Democratic socialist who ran on free buses, which of course he doesn't have the authority as mayor to do. That's something out of Albany, the MTA, and Governor Hochul hasn't indicated she's in favor of that. So talking about transportation here, I don't know how soon. I see a lot of people get on the bus without paying, so maybe they think, oh, Mamdani's here. We're good.
I can get away with it.
Yeah, I can get away with it. And, so I do think that affordability is still going to drive his agenda. It'll just be very interesting to see how many of those campaign promises he can deliver on and how soon he can do that. maybe we have to wait for if Governor Hochul wins re-election, maybe she would reconsider some of his promises. It'd be interesting to see if she needs Mamdani or Mamdani needs her as that relationship. Same thing with Trump
That's
tomorrow.
interesting. I didn't. I haven't thought about that. Who needs who more? Well, now she's up for re-election, so I don't know how much he needs her anymore. He needs her though for policy change and whatever he wants to implement, and the legislature.
Yes.
But
no, he absolutely
we'll see.
does.
That's a good. Yeah. Who needs who more? I would assuming someone who wants to get reelected needs that person more.
Not to mention his social media prowess, especially when it comes to attracting support in the 5 boroughs. And she's going to have a couple people want to primary her, and Elise Stefanik, running as a Republican, is certainly going to have the backing of President Trump. So it could be a very interesting race, which we'll be following for you. But Richard, I want to get to another topic with you.
So enough about these city bikes, Sharon.
Enough about these city bikes, because I like the idea of bike riding. You know, I like the Peloton, I liked the Soul Cycle, I like the idea of biking. But of course, my cousins, I have family members that just laugh at me because they do ride in real bikes on real streets, and they think what I do is not exercise.
I'm always deathly afraid to get on a bike because I feel like I don't do it enough.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm going to fall off.
Yeah, it could happen.
I'm reluctant. I bought one during COVID. I bought a new bicycle during COVID. I used it for a few months, and then I stopped.
Yeah. Well,
I never went back.
Now it's just a coat hanger. Listen, Richard, this is going to be your most favorite transition because I know you're a very savvy guy. Speaking of transportation, we're going to go from bikes to sleigh rides, right?
Oh, wow. Very good, Sharon. That was good.
I'm going to let you take it away.
You were going.
I want you to explain to our viewers how you spent 6 o'clock this evening. Set it up for us.
Let me tell you, when I was a kid, when my dad used to take me to see Santa Claus, I really wanted to go.
Yeah.
And we would go. You're familiar with Connecticut. You remember the Stamford Town Center Mall.
Yes. Ghost town now.
Yes, that is true, sadly.
Yeah.
And the real Santa, my dad would always tell me, the real Santa was in the Stamford Mall. It's funny what you remember as a kid. And so I used to make him go, and there was always a line, and we would wait on the line, and I was excited, but I was nervous. We'd get to the front of the line, and I would chicken out.
Oh, no, you're kidding.
And I would cry, and I didn't want anything to do with Santa once I got there. I could see a little bit of this in my son now.
Oh, no.
So...
And you came. Now you're a public figure, and you're friendly to strangers and friends alike.
Well, we'll leave that there, sure. But aren't we all?
Yeah.
So, well, but we're New Yorkers, so how friendly could we be?
That's true.
So tonight the assignment was go to Macy's. Okay. They were unveiling their windows.
Good.
And they were also, they were fantastic. Their windows were great. And then we got to go. Our real big highlight was go up to Santaland. So if you don't know, Santaland has been there forever.
Awesome.
And at Santaland on the 8th floor of Macy's Herald Square is it's like you're in the North Pole. You get to do this whole walkthrough, and you see all these kids dressed up and ready for their pictures. But unbeknownst to me, the real Santa Claus, because this is what Macy's says, since 1861, the only real Santa Claus is at Macy's Herald Square. The one you see at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade every year, who's up in the sleigh, who comes down 6th Avenue, that's Santa. And that Santa was around the corner for me, so much to my delight and by surprise, because this was not a setup ahead of time. They just said, when you're ready, Santa's around the corner in that house. And when I went in,
you didn't chicken out this time, did you, Richard?
I did not chicken out, but I will tell you this, and you will see this in the clip that we're going to show you.
Okay.
I still got that little knot in my stomach that I had when I was, 8 years old, 9 years old, because I still felt like, oh my God, I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words here. And you almost get like a little I'm still a kid. I'm still a kid, Sharon. You know I love Disney, so I'm a kid.
I know. I didn't even bring that up. That's a whole nother story. We could go another 15
we'll do that
on that, but let's not. Let's have Jonah play your 6 o'clock
Jonah,
hit.
play the
Come on,
clip.
Jonah.
Let's see, 35 days until Christmas, but that special someone who you just mentioned, I think he's already arrived because his sled is here, and I think I see his gloves on the sled and his package of presents. This is Macy's Santaland, the North Pole Village here at Macy's Herald Square. It is a true miracle on 34th Street. It is quintessential New York. I remember I was a kid and This is where my parents would take me to meet the one and only Santa Claus. The real Santa Claus is only here at Macy's. And we have Kathleen Wright, who's standing by here so patiently waiting for us. Kathleen is the director. I want to make sure I get your title right, Kathleen. Director of Production Operations for Macy's Studios.
Yes.
This event, you know, every time we think Macy's and we think Santa Claus, it's Christmas time, right? And it doesn't get better than this.
It really doesn't. Here at Macy's in Herald Square, Santa has been a part of our holiday tradition since 1861, and we're so excited to be able to continue that tradition again this year, over 160 years later.
The greatest part about this is that it's all free, right? So you just have to make your reservation online. All of this starts, everybody, next Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving. It's not yet. He might be here, but not yet.
Yes, exactly. So you can start to make your reservations this Sunday for next Friday when we open up on November 28th. We're so excited to welcome people to come visit us here at Santaland. You're right, it's free admission. So make your reservation online at Macys.com/holiday celebrations and come see Santa Claus.
And that starts Monday. The reservations open
Sunday.
up.
Sunday. We open, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Early in the morning. Got to get up early, make your reservations.
6:30 in the morning. Got to wake up.
Kathleen, I think I hear something.
I think so too.
All right, come with me, guys, because I could have sworn. Where is he? I could have sworn I heard someone. Let me see if he's here yet. He might be. Hopefully, he's not meeting anybody. But let's see. Here he is, the one and only Santa Claus. This is the one who's in the parade.
Absolutely, and welcome to
Hello,
Santaland.
Santa Claus. Thank you so much.
I am so glad to see you because it's only 34 days to Christmas.
That's right. That's right.
And I want to tell all of my young friends, if you want to see Santa, come to Macy's, because this really is the most wonderful time of the year.
It so is. It so is. Santa, he still makes me nervous this many years later because I was so afraid to tell you what I wanted for Christmas. But this year, can you share a holiday message for all our children who might be watching tonight?
Absolutely. This is what I remind all the boys and girls. Listen to Santa and look in my eyes. It's magic. You don't find the meaning of Christmas under the tree. You find the real meaning of Christmas where? In your heart. I remind all the good boys and girls that they already have the best gift of all, which of course is their family. I remember when you were little, you were afraid of me, but not anymore, right?
Santa never forgets, and he's always watching. 35 days until...
Richard, I am so impressed. You overcame your fear. Did you tell Santa what you wanted for Christmas?
I did. Well, I told him about the iPad, and then, you know, he was talking too long, and they were telling me in my ear to rap, and I said, Santa, come on, we have to go to commercial. We have to pay the bills.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, Richard Giacobbe, thank you so much. Impressive.
All right, I'm going to go finish my story for 10.
All right. We look forward to seeing you on the Fox 5 News at 10 o'clock tonight.
Bye, Sharon.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. That's right. Ho, ho, ho.
Awesome. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes with so much more. A whole nother hour of streaming coming your way. Keep it right here. And welcome back to Newsroom Live. It's approximately 8:02 Eastern Standard Time. You're looking at a live picture of the White House. Why? Because it's going to be a very exciting day. Tomorrow morning in the Oval Office, Mayor-elect, New York City's Mayor-elect, Zoran Mamdani, is going to meet with President Trump in the Oval Office. All eyes on that meeting, as the two have appeared to be, well, not so friendly at times. The president even threatening to withhold federal funding from New York City if Mamdani won. Well, he won. They are both titans of social media, both very expert at getting their supporters drawn in and fired up, but they both ran on similar messages of affordability and lowering the cost, of lowering inflation in Trump's case, and lowering the cost of goods and free childcare and free buses and all kinds of things, and freezing the rent here in New York City. Some of those promises, we'll see if Zoran Mamdani can keep, because he needs Albany's help, and we're not clear whether that's going to happen. So we'll be following that for you. But it'll be really interesting to see how the two of them interact tomorrow. They actually have some things in common, both Queens born, both good at social media, as I said, both trying to lower the costs around the country and here in New York City, and both have extremely loyal supporters. Our Morgan Mackay is on her way to Washington, D.C., and she's going to do her Politics Unusual show live from Washington, D.C. tomorrow night. So we are looking forward to that report and all things. And of course, I will have a report for you tonight on the Fox 5 News at 10 o'clock. I'm Sharon Crowley. Thanks so much for joining us for Newsroom Live. And we are streaming, of course, on the Fox Local app and the Fox 5 NY YouTube channel. And I'm reporting to you from the Upper East Side of Manhattan from the Fox 5 Newsroom. And we have switched out our team here. We have Brianna on keyboards. There you go. And we have Gabriella over there bringing in our Zoom guest. We have a Zoom guest on deck coming in very soon. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Let's get to our top story, though. Let's hear what the mayor-elect had to say about his visit to the Oval Office tomorrow.
I will be heading to Washington, D.C. tomorrow to meet with President Trump in the White House. It is customary for an incoming mayor of this city to meet with the White House, given the mutual reliance. It's more critical than ever, given the national crisis of affordability, one that New Yorkers know very well across these 5 boroughs, and the specific challenge many cities are facing with balancing public safety against steps taken by this administration. I know that for tens of thousands of New Yorkers, this meeting is between two very different candidates who they voted for the same reason. They wanted a leader who would take on the cost of living crisis that makes it impossible for working people to afford living in this city. My team reached out to the White House to set up this meeting because I will work with anyone to make life more affordable for the more than 8.5 million people who call this city home. I have many disagreements with the president, and I believe that we should be relentless and pursue all avenues and all meetings that could make our city affordable for every single New Yorker. I intend to make it clear to President Trump that I will work with him on any agenda that benefits New Yorkers. If an agenda hurts New Yorkers, I will also be the first to say so. Thank you. This is an opportunity to make the case for New Yorkers. And it's a case that reflects what New Yorkers are having to live through at this time. When we speak about an affordability crisis, we're speaking about 1 in 4 New Yorkers living in poverty, 1 in 5 struggling to afford $2.90 to ride the bus. New Yorkers for whom the daily acts of life are becoming increasingly harder to afford. And that's an opportunity I have to make the case to President Trump, to the White House, as to what it means to have to suffer through this affordability crisis and what it means to make it even more difficult to do so.
Yeah, Jeff. I'm wondering, he called you a communist in the announcements, which seemed a little belittling. I'm wondering, are you concerned that this meeting will actually bear any sort of fruit, or whether it will be another opportunity for him to try to publicly embarrass you? And could you go into any specifics about what you specifically want to ask him, any specific requests you have for the president's meeting?
I'm not concerned about this meeting. I view this meeting as an opportunity for me to make my case. And I'll make that case to anyone, frankly, as we've been doing over the course of the campaign, and now as I will be the next mayor of this city. It behooves me to ensure that I leave no stone unturned in looking to make the city more affordable. And this is a meeting where I look forward to speaking about the affordability agenda, public safety, and economic security for each and every person that calls the city home.
All right, that's Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani today talking ahead of his meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office tomorrow. Should be very interesting. President Trump didn't comment today about his meeting. He did post about it last night, but his White House press secretary had a briefing today, and here's what she had to say about it.
Thank you, Caroline. Is there anything that Mayor-elect Mamdani could say tomorrow that would ease the president's concerns about his future leadership in New York?
Look, I don't want to speak for the president or get ahead of this meeting that we are currently working on tomorrow. As you saw, the president put out a statement tomorrow that the mayor-elect will be coming to the Oval Office, and so our teams are arranging those details. I won't get into the president's thinking on it. I think you'll all hear from him directly. I also think I will just add, it speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people, whether they live in blue states or red states or blue cities, in a city that's becoming much more left than I think this president ever anticipated in his many years of living in New York himself.
You said that the president was going to do what was right for U.S. citizens, regardless of whether they lived in blue or red states. I'm curious if there's any chance in tomorrow's meeting with Mayor-elect Mamdani that he will be able to convince the president to abandon that promise to cut off federal funding to New York City.
Look, Phil, we'll see how the meeting goes tomorrow, and I'll let the president speak for himself.
There we go. And that was Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, talking about the meeting tomorrow between President Trump and Mamdani. We have a lot going on tonight. And of course, the Epstein files. Last night, the president did sign the congressional legislation to compel the Justice Department to release about 100,000 files, some of them dating back decades to multiple investigations into Jeffrey Epstein, something that survivors who are now adult women say they were abused and sex trafficked as underage girls have been pushing for so long. They were cheering at the Capitol when this bill finally passed, and they held a candlelight vigil this week on the Capitol steps. Everyone now hoping for transparency, both Republicans and Democrats, and the president has said that he would do that. And yet, Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, said that she must follow the law. And what does that mean? What it means is there will be names that are redacted. Obviously, child sex abuse victims' names will be redacted, or any material connected to that. But also, if this is classified as a government secret, anything connected to that, or if there was any ongoing investigation. And that's important because, as we know, excuse me, that's Newsroom Live. Can I help you? My apologies. That is not anyone's lawyer. That is a scam call, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. But back to Epstein, the late Jeffrey Epstein, who committed suicide in a lower Manhattan jail. And that is also going to be part of the documents, we're told, that will be released. His relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell, the details of his suicide, his decades of abuse that he was convicted on and awaiting trial for. But I don't know, and most legal experts really don't know, if Americans, if voters, if MAGA supporters, Democrats, the survivors are going to be satisfied with what is released. Because beyond what's redacted from those documents, there could also be a lot of names taken out that were connected to ongoing investigations, because President Trump has said he's going to be investigating some Democrats that had ties to Epstein. Now, you do know that Epstein had many powerful friends, including Prince Andrew and many more, and those who have high-profile jobs, and including President Trump when he was just Donald Trump. But Donald Trump has said he did not know of any wrongdoing and cut ties with Epstein many, many years ago. So we'll be following that story for you tonight on the Fox 5 10 o'clock news. So we hope you keep it here for that as well. But up next, we're all talking about the high rents, the high cost of housing, and why, if you're trying to buy a house, even if the interest rates come down, it doesn't seem to help. There's no inventory. And what is a 50-year mortgage anyway? Well, we're going to find the answers to all that. We have a realtor on tap up next in just 2 minutes to answer all your questions. And if you have any, feel free to put some in the chat and we will read them out loud and get your answers. So keep it right here. I'll be back in 2 minutes. You are looking at a live picture of Midtown Manhattan on this Thursday evening as we look ahead to the weekend and to the holidays. And you're looking at some of the most expensive real estate in the entire world, I would argue. Right? We're not too far from Millionaire's Row, as they like to call it, from Central Park, just a few blocks away there. There's Radio City Music Hall, Rockefeller Center right there. Very expensive real estate. If you live there, if you work there, people are paying high rents, or they paid millions and millions of dollars if they own where they live. I bring up real estate now. Welcome to Newsroom Live, and thanks for sticking it out with us. I'm Sharon Crowley reporting to you from the Fox 5 Newsroom, which also is very expensive real estate. And we have a long lease, so we're not getting booted out. Listen, joining me now is Jason Mitchell. He is a realtor. He's joining us from Scottsdale, Arizona this evening, but he knows all things real estate, renting, buying, and he has answers to all of our questions. And Gabriella is monitoring our YouTube page, so if one of our regulars, types in a question, we'll be sure to ask Jason. So first, I want to welcome you, Jason. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Tell our viewers, a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. So been in real estate for 23 years, fortunate enough to be the #1 real estate broker in America. And I run the #1 real estate team in America, as well as a large brokerage across the country, 42 states that we are actively in, New York being one of them. And so we have a beat on a lot of the market and a lot of different parts of the market. Real estate is local, and so different parts of the country are affected by different things. And so I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome. So I want to ask you, first of all, let's just start with something I had never heard of before, and I am open to new ideas, but explain to our viewers, what is a 50-year mortgage, and was President Trump just kidding, and what does it mean?
Well, I hope he's not kidding, and while I see the skepticism behind it, perhaps I might be able to sway you in a different direction. And let me explain what I mean.
Okay.
I will go over what your points probably are, and that is a 50-year mortgage, meaning I'm going to pay a lot more interest. I'm probably going to pay a higher interest rate. And I'm going to pay down my principal slower while I'm in a 50-year mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the negative effects of what could be a 50-year mortgage. But I want to really talk about why and also how it could be extremely beneficial to some. As we know, it's very difficult to get into the housing market right now, not just based on where interest rates are, but also based on where values have gone over even a short period of 5 years. Significant increase in values. The 50-year mortgage or the 50-year amortization, the positives to it are those that have a difficult time qualifying right now from a debt to income perspective. You know, when you buy a home and you finance, you have to qualify for it.
Yep.
And so this isn't a play for down payment as much as it's a play to qualify for the monthly payment. And by having a lower monthly payment, although more interest, the benefit is more people can qualify. The other side of that, though, too, is that when you hear 50 years locked into a mortgage, oh my goodness, all this interest, the majority of Americans live in their home for 12 years. And in those 12 years, they actually refinance their home 3 times. Now, why is that important? It's important because most of the time, average folks don't pay down a lot of principal before they do their first refinance. And they refinance if rates go lower or if they're looking to cash out and maybe pay down some credit card debt. And so the reset of that amortization happens quite often. And if I may, if I have a second, I'd like to give you a difference because I'm with you when it comes to like, this might sound a little bit ridiculous, all this interest. So here's the difference in payment. The monthly payment on a 30-year amortization on a $400,000 loan is $2,398. That's on a $400,000 loan. Obviously, New York has higher prices, but let's take that number to start with. On a 50-year, the mortgage payment is $2,105. Now, that's a almost $300 a month difference. It doesn't seem like a lot, but when you talk about qualifying, when you underwrite a loan, you have to stay under a certain threshold of total debt versus your total income. It can be impactful in many cases. Now, the rub of that is the total interest paid. The total interest is $463,000 on a 30-year fixed and $863,000 on a 50-year. But going back to almost no one would stay into a loan for 50 years.
Got it.
And the average person sells their home in 12 and resets that 3 times. Here's the best part of this loan.
Yeah, let me hear
If
that.
it helps Americans get into housing, actually there's 2 really good sides to this. One, if you're an individual that can benefit from this, if we took an average appreciation of 6% per year on this $400,000, say it's the price of the home, after 5 years, you would have made $135,000 in appreciation. So even though your principal on a 30-year is $372,000, and on the 50, it's $392, meaning I didn't chunk away at a whole lot of principal over 5 years, only $8,000. That's crazy. But even if we only saw 6% appreciation over 5 years, you have $135,000 in equity. And that's the key to this, is being able to enter the market because people need real estate to gain wealth. And so it helps you tap into the ability to earn appreciation. Now, let's say appreciation is flat, which has never happened over the course of time. But let's say appreciation is flat.
Yeah.
The other great side to this loan is, like, in New York City, rents get crazy. It's some of the most expensive real estate on earth, as you mentioned coming into this. Here's the beauty part. You are locked in for 50 years at a $2,100 a month payment.
Okay.
So for 50 years, 52 generations, your payment will never change.
Okay. Like rent-controlled apartments here in New York, or rent-stabilized. Well, even rent-stabilized goes up.
Yeah, that's the beauty part of the fixed mortgage. It's a hedge against inflation. So, you know, these banks commit long-term on debt if they're willing, they're doing it at 30, at 50 years, they're committing that payment's never changing for 50 years. Now, that's got to have some peace of mind of knowing that as things get more expensive, the one thing that will never change unless I choose to have it changed by refinancing or selling my home, I'm locked in at $2,100 a month.
All right. Don't go anywhere, Jason Mitchell. Because why? We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want you to dig around your closet there in Scottsdale and pull out your crystal ball, because I want you to predict what's going to happen with the real estate market in the first quarter of 2026. So keep it right here, Jason. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Newsroom Live. You're looking at a live shot of New York City this evening. It is a busy night on this Thursday, and we're going to jump right back in with Jason Mitchell. He has his crystal ball for us, and everybody wants to know about the real estate market. Our interest rate's going to come down. Is it going to open up for first-time home buyers? Are people going to start moving? Are we going to start, seeing rents come up or down? What do you say, Jason?
Well, I can tell you on a national level, the prediction, if you take the 5 main groups that do analysis reporting for the real estate market in general, the average prediction is real estate purchases will be up around 14% next year, which means we should see a decent amount of appreciation. Now, I will tell you, for our listeners in New York, it's a different animal in New York. It's very localized, and every one of the boroughs act a little bit differently. And from what I understand, there was an election that happened in New York not too long ago.
You are correct. There was a very an earthquake that happened at the polls in November.
I heard about that.
That's
I heard
right.
about that. And regardless of any what side anybody's on, that power and the ability to put policy in place could certainly affect a lot of housing in the city. And so I'm not sure. Again, New York has actually done pretty well over the past year and a lot of bounce back, especially in commercial. Commercial's come back pretty strong in New York. When you talk about renting, I believe that rent stabilizations will be quite flat over the next year. So that's actually, it's a good thing for tenants and for landlords. Nationally, rents have been down double digits over the past couple of years. What happened is there was too much building. And so when you have an abundance of supply, a lot of landlords have to give concessions, especially in apartments and in co-ops. You got to give concessions for people to move in, offer lower costs, and they're slowly working their way out of that.
Jason, you brought up our
yeah.
election, and I would be remiss if I did not tell you our fine New York Post and other publications have put out something called the Mamdani effect. And I've talked to realtors here. I don't know how much weight I would give it, but what that means is that if he were to win, and he did, that the millionaires and the wealthiest New Yorkers would run for the hills, would move to Florida, would move to the suburbs, would move to New Jersey, would move anywhere, so they would not be facing a higher tax rate. What do you say to that? Do you think there's any truth to that you'll see people do that, or are they so wealthy they have plenty of homes everywhere? And because they're bringing in the tax base, and there was this big concern, especially critics of Mamdani, that the wealthiest New Yorkers would leave and then they would take their money with them.
Yeah, I think the latter is true. I think New York has some of the wealthiest people, and what ends up happening is they look to call their primary residence in Florida to save on taxes rather than New York City. I think you'll see some of it, but I don't think it's to the extent that some may claim. Everybody over exaggerates, when things go down, and quite frankly, I don't think that's going to happen. I think you could see some of it, but I will tell you what did have a great effect on a larger scale. The state of California,
a lot of the policies, right?
The mansion tax, and overall, the tax rate in California above 13%, plus what you pay, for federal and whatnot. Most people that do well are paying over 60% of their hard-earned money in total, and that's led to mass exodus to where states like where I live in Arizona, Nevada, Texas. California has seen a lot of people move, and unfortunately, a lot of businesses have moved out of the state of California, which is responsible for employing tens and hundreds of thousands of people. And so that's a real effect. In terms of people leaving New York City, it's hard to leave New York City. It's the capital of the world. If you got your business here, so I'm not sure on that one as much, but California was absolutely impacted.
All right. Well, Jason Mitchell, we so appreciated it. And to your point, before I let you go, I have a friend that I used to work with in Philadelphia who was a police officer in Philadelphia. Then he moved to Florida, and now he's a sheriff in Florida. And he was just up here in New York City trying to recruit police officers and others to move to Florida.
Hey,
so,
now might be the time.
You stated about real estate and taxes. All right, listen, Jason Mitchell, thank you so much. We hope you will join us again soon and bring your insights on real estate and all things in the future. So thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, very good. Thanks, Jason. Well, we are coming up on 8:30 on this Thursday evening, and as promised, there is much more to our live streaming show. We have Lou Albany's in the wings. We have a very special surprise for the end of the show. You're not going to believe it. A lady from Queens breaking records. We're going to tell you why and how coming up. But next, we have much more on the Epstein files. We have a very special lawyer in the wings waiting to break it all down for us. So keep it right here. I'm Sharon Crowley. Thanks for being with us. All right, you are now looking at a live picture of the Fox 5 newsroom here on the Upper East Side of New York City, and you're looking at all those screens for a reason. What we're doing, our team here, which is Brianna, she's on the keyboards there, thank you very much, and Gabriella, she's on piano, bringing in our Zoom interviews, and Brian Kay is hiding in the background, but if he turns and waves, they'll see you. And myself, Sharon Crowley. Those screens, thank you, Brian. Usually he's on the keyboards. You're looking at all those screens, and why we're watching them so closely is there are live breaking developments happening around the country, in Washington and around the world, and also in the 5 boroughs. So from time to time, what we do is break in and go directly to them to show you guys what is happening around our viewing area. We do not want you to have to wait for news on the Fox Local app or on the Fox 5 NY YouTube channel. We want to give it to you right away. We also want to hear your comments and questions because we'll try to address them in real time. And we thank you so much for joining us. I'm Sharon Crowley. Thanks again. Well, we are moving at a very fast pace tonight. No time to waste. We're going to go right back to the Epstein files that were just released, and I'm going to bring in Eric O'Neill, lawyer extraordinaire. Eric, tell people where you are tonight and a little bit about your background.
I am just north of Washington, D.C. in the great state of Maryland. My background began with the FBI. I was an undercover operative responsible for counterintelligence and counterterrorism in mostly the D.C. area. Since then, I've been an attorney, a national security strategist for cybersecurity companies, and I'm an author of 2 books. My latest and greatest just came out this month, and it's called Spies, Lies, and Cybercrime. Everything you need to know to protect yourself from cyber attacks in thrilling true crime stories.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it. I have a lot of questions for you. Let's start with the Epstein files. Really, this case has generated bipartisan attention around the world. And I say that because we have Prince Andrew got ensnared in this scandal and stripped of his title and other privileges. Donald Trump's name mentioned about 1,000 times, and he has said repeatedly he didn't know of Epstein's wrongdoing and cut ties with him decades ago. But other big names, in Harvard, he just stepped away from his job there, Mr. Summers. There is a lot going on, a lot of powerful figures whose names maybe we don't know yet. Bill Clinton's name, he's been on the what they referred to as the Lolita Express, Epstein's private plane, which isn't to say any of these people did anything untoward, but yet the survivors, the girls who are women now, who were underage girls and trafficked by Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein over decades, and he had a home here on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And for those who are maybe not familiar, what their MO was, allegedly, was that they would lure the girls in. They'd start with one, and with money or a blow dryer or something expensive, a teenage girl, and then they would use that girl to go back to her high school and recruit more girls, and with the incentive of more money, and then, of course, accused of sexual trafficking and sexual abuse to all of the women's involved here. And of course, Virginia Giuffre, the center of this case, committed suicide. Her family members have been quite vocal. But so much pressure to release. Donald Trump back and forth, waffling in, then finally reversed his call, said, go ahead, let everything out. And it's 100,000 pages of files. What do you think we're actually going to learn? And is some stuff going to be held back?
Right. Well, there's a lot there, Sharon. It's a devastating case. It is one of the worst and most heinous crimes. It's not only trafficking, but grooming of young girls to put them in sexual situations, allegedly. But there seems to be plenty of evidence of that. And there are many victims who would like to have justice. And that's my hope. So what will we see? Now, finally, after years of political football by both sides of the aisle and 2 or maybe even 3 different administrations, we're finally seeing the full, well, a part of the DOJ and FBI's investigation into this Epstein controversy. But here's the problem. There are many buckets of information that would be excluded from any release that we're going to see. So the way this works administratively right now is the president has signed the order and signed into law the congressional order. And now what happens is the DOJ has 30 days to respond and produce documents that meet the requirements of this new congressional law. And then after that, they have 15 days to say, here's all the stuff we didn't produce, and here's why. All of this becomes part of the congressional record. So what aren't they going to produce? Well, let's start with the very easy stuff. Anything related to the victims. We're not going to see anything that not only redacts victim names, but we're also not going to see any information that could lead someone to figure out the name or the identity of a victim. That's very important. We want to protect those who are the most vulnerable. We're also not going to see, and this is where things get controversial, anything related to an ongoing investigation or anything that has to do with national security information. Now, why does this matter? Well, it sounds like, at least recently, if maybe they were before, we're not really sure, but there are investigations now into top Democrats. At least we know that from Pam Bondi. And there may be others. So anything related to those investigations could be excluded from this reveal of information that we're going to see in the next 30 days. We hope in the next 30 days. We're also not going to see anything related to cooperating witnesses. So if somebody, was accused of a crime, or there was information in the documents and the investigation that suggested they committed a crime, and the Department of Justice or FBI was going to pursue, and they turned informant and said, okay, you give me immunity or you give me a lighter sentence or something, and I will help you with the bigger fish. Usually they would turn smaller people who did very lesser things in order to get those who did the bigger things. They will just be listed as confidential informant 1 or 2 or some generic term, and we're not going to know their identities. And then finally, anything that has to do with internal DOJ, FBI deliberations, much of that information is going to have an attorney involved. And anytime an attorney is involved, it comes under what's called the work product doctrine and is protected by attorney-client privilege, and that would be excluded from any dump of information.
Boy, it sounds like the survivors, and there's not been enough attention placed on them. I feel like it's very political, and it's been back and forth between Democrats and Republicans, but it doesn't sound like the survivors are really going to get the names or the answers that they wanted to. What happens if they go public with and accusing people if they don't see the names they want to see?
Well, that would put a lot of pressure on the Department of Justice and FBI to then say why they didn't look into those people. And it would put pressure on those individuals to defend themselves. And it could get very messy if those individuals have a lot of money, for example, and hire attorneys and say that's slander or libel, right?
Yep.
And then the victims become victims again in a legal process.
Right.
So what I think I would love to see, my hope is that the Department of Justice comes back with a lot of blank spaces that indicate that there are ongoing investigations that they cannot talk about. I would like to see a lot of those, right? Because we know that there are individuals who need to serve justice. Now, we don't know if any of the information that was learned or extracted from Epstein or his co-conspirators' devices or computer systems or documents actually lead to those names. We've heard a lot about this Epstein list, and the DOJ is saying it doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist. And it might be hard for them to find the identities of those individuals.
Yeah, very interesting. And we also heard, before I let you go, we also have heard that we should be hearing about more details about his suicide in a federal detention center here in Lower Manhattan in 2019. I think we've seen some of that tape, and there was some missing minutes, and perhaps even more about him and his longtime companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving 20 years, of course. Maybe more from her, maybe not the Justice's Department interview with her, but perhaps more about the interaction between Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes, certainly. No, there might be more documents that we haven't seen yet that show the connection between Maxwell and Epstein. That would be very interesting, especially if it suggests that other people were involved and we get some of those names. I'm not sure how much they'll redact there. And I am very keen to see the details of the investigation into the apparent suicide of Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, either that is the biggest screw up by a penitentiary in allowing an inmate to do that to themselves and not be monitored. One of the most high profile inmates on earth, right? Or there's something we don't know. And so maybe we'll learn a little bit more information when we see that.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. Well, listen, Eric O'Neill, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll certainly be talking to you again do you have any timeline as to when we'll start to see these public files, the files get slowly released to the public, or do you think it's going to be a big dump of 100,000?
That is a great question, Sharon. And having done this from the other side, working undercover and working as a federal investigator, I can tell you that typically these redactions take time. I would bet, if I had to bet, I'm not really a betting man, but if I had to bet, I would say that they reach the 30-day mark and ask for more time.
Yep, sounds about right. All right, Eric O'Neill, thank you so much. We hope you will join us again soon and enjoy that lovely warm weather in Scottsdale, Arizona tonight.
Thank you, Sharon. I'll join you anytime.
All right, sounds good. Keep it right here because we have a real treat for you. I promised. I was teasing it through the show. Sports director extraordinaire Lou Albeniz. You saw him get a tattoo on live television. That's right. It's called Kicking and Screaming, and you can see it. Yeah, don't look for it now because I don't want you to miss this live interview. We're not going to talk tattoos. We're going to talk sports with him a little bit. And then we have a record setter in Queens who I spoke with, and you just will not believe what she broke the record for. All that's coming up. Keep it right here, 2 minutes away. It's beginning to look a lot like
starting
Christmas.
to feel like Christmas. It's got cold out there, you know.
I know.
And it's been
Hey,
cold
welcome
on
back.
the streets.
Welcome back to Newsroom Live. Don't worry, I'm keeping my day job. I'm Sharon Crowley, joined now with Lou Albeniz
we
as
are.
promised. He's got all things sports.
Well, you know what? I'm glad we showed that shot of the streets.
Good.
Because that's what we're going to talk about.
Good.
Tonight is the annual Covenant House Sleep Out.
Yes,
That's where
Covenant House
executives,
is a great cause, right? Helps
great
homeless
cause, great
teenagers.
Cause. And what happens is, as you can see here, this is from last year because we don't have it yet from today.
Okay.
What they do, and that's Brian Cashman, Yankees general manager, a major cause. He goes every year. He's out there in the street.
God
what
bless
they do,
him. He's sleeping out there to
they
draw
sleep.
attention.
They sleep
Wow.
outside. They got their little, their little sleeping bags, and it's all to put awareness to youth homelessness. The group, it's a global thing. It goes all around the world. They estimate about 4.5 million, give or take, of kids.
Runaways is
runaways.
how it started, Father Richter.
It was
yeah.
runaways, but there's 4.5 million homeless kids, youth all across the world, all across the countries. And this is a way to say, hey, they need help. Please donate, help. And Brian Cashman, this is a cause of his, and he has done this at least over a dozen years. And he has been a real spokesperson for Covenant House. It's a great thing he does. And it's happening at a time right now when the Yankees and him, Brian's getting a lot of heat. Getting a lot of heat.
Talk to me about it.
Well, you know, a lot of people are demanding that they make trades, they sign free agents, and here they are. The other day they got burned badly.
Mm-hmm.
They have a center fielder, Trent Grisham, had a career year. This kid had a career year.
I see.
So he was a free agent. They offer him a thing called it's a qualifying offer is what it's called.
Okay.
And what it means is if you accept it, you sign for next year, you sign on the dotted line, $22 million for next year. Now, they didn't think, a lot of guys in the Yankee organization didn't think he would accept it. If he says no, he becomes a free agent, and the Yankees would get a draft pick if someone signed him. Well, Trent kind of surprised a few people there, and he took the $22 million, which I think was a smart move on his part.
Okay.
There's no guarantee he's going to see that money. So now, Hal Steinbrenner, the owner, says the other day, I want to get my payroll under $300 million. And with that $22 million, you're looking at about $280 right now. So unless they start trading guys, there may not be money to bring back Cody Bellinger, a key bat. There may not be money to sign a Kyle Tucker if
we
Cody
need a World
leaves.
Series victory for the Pinstripes.
And that's the problem. And what are the Yankee fans doing? They're screaming bloody murder. They're screaming that Hal's cheap. The Dodgers have a payroll of $400 million. Hal, come on, be like your father. But they don't want to hear it. Hal believes 300 or less. Now, he said this before. He's said it before, and then they always go over because there's penalties involved with this, a lot of penalties. What happens is you got to start paying, like for every dollar you're over the certain thresholds, and they're already on the third threshold. They got to pay per dollar for every dollar they're over. You know, it starts going into the thousands and millions of dollars.
It's a lot of money.
4, 5, 6 extra $1 million, and Hal doesn't want to spend it. He doesn't want to spend it.
So what's going to happen?
They're either going to have to make some moves. 3 things got to happen. Either they make some moves to get rid of money, which is not going to be so easy because there's a lot of money still on those books.
Yeah.
Or Hal bites the bullet and they go out and they sign Bellinger. Now, Cashman said, hey, we're going to sign Bellinger. Don't worry about that. They're going to do it. And, well, a lot of Yankee fans don't believe him. And that's the problem. So he's getting a lot of heat. Hal's getting a lot of heat. It's a big, big offseason for them.
So it's a good night to sleep outside in the cold.
You know what? He's better off outside because if he goes inside and has to listen to the radio, he's going to be listening to all those Yankee fans screaming. So this is a way to hide. Go in the sleeping bag, cover your head, and guess what? Yankee fans won't be able to track you down. But now that they know where he is, well, that could be bad.
I appreciate someone in leadership who really puts his money where his mouth is. He's sleeping out there tonight. He's asking other people to do that, and he's doing it himself too. So I think it sends a great message. And our Jennifer Williams is out there, and she's going to have, I don't think she's going to spend the night out there. What do you say?
I don't think so.
Don't know. But she is going to report for us tonight on the Fox 5 10 o'clock news.
And we'll hear from Brian. We'll hear from Brian, and we'll hear from other people who would basically, you know, sitting out in the cold. I wouldn't even be out in the cold. I'd be afraid what might crawl into my bag. That's what I'd be afraid of.
Yes.
Exactly. That's what I'd be afraid
That's
of.
one of the things about New Yorkers. I moved to New York, I would say 10 years ago, and I thought at first what I heard, because I've lived in the suburbs, in the country, and I was like, is that a squirrel?
Oh, no. It's not a squirrel. It's big enough to be a dog, but you don't want that crawling in your bag.
You have to be super brave. And as the actress Jennifer Lawrence said, one of the tips she learned about New York is when you get home every night, you have to wash your feet.
Always wash your feet, wash your hands, and wash everything.
Yeah. And if you touch on the subway, there could be a couple 100,000. Anyway, I digress. Lou Albanese is not going anywhere.
No, we're talking about something that's very true to my heart and brings me back old memories. Old memories.
Oh, yes, that's right. We have
old memories.
A record setter from Queens. You're not going to want to miss it.
I'm going to have to reveal something
Don't
about my
forget.
past.
All
Oh, my
right.
God.
Oh, no, and it's not the tattoo.
Oh, my God. And it's not the tattoo. Trust me.
Okay.
In
2 minutes, we're coming right back.
I may not seem
Keep
now,
it right
but
here.
it's going to be about my lack of hair here, but it wasn't always the case.
And welcome back to Newsroom Live. There's a picture of the Statue of Liberty on this Thursday night.
Overlooking Brian Cashman, making sure he stays safe.
I know. Everyone is
That's
going
what
to stay
she's doing.
safe tonight.
That's
I'm
what she's
Sharon
doing.
Hurley, joined with Lou Albanese. But without further ado, I told you we have
Yes.
a world record breaker from Queens. Her name is Jessica Martinez. And what did she break the record for? Well, you're about to see. I'm not even going to give it away. Let's just hear her and see if you can guess what she broke the record for.
So I want to ask you, first of all, you have beautiful hair. Talk to me about your hair. How long have you been growing it out?
Well, you know what? I actually have been growing my hair for a very long time. It's been cut a couple times, but I've been growing it out since I was in grade school. Yeah.
And it's been cut a couple of times, but not longer than that. Is this the longest it's been?
Not even close. Not even close. No, my hair used to be all the way down my back. Obviously there is shrinkage that you have to take into consideration. So when my hair is wet, it can actually extend. So it's pretty cool to see how long it is when it is wet. But I've learned to embrace shrinkage, and I love that my hair can change forms and look longer on some days and shorter on others.
So do you have the world's biggest, or whatever the right word is, biggest afro? Is that true?
I'm officially been named the world's largest afro on a female living person.
Congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
For you.
Thank
so
you.
How do you keep up? I know we all struggle with our hair. How do you keep it together? How do you keep styling it?
Yeah, so my routine is it's cleansing weekly. And what I do is I use braid outs and twist outs, and I utilize them. So some people would call them a protective style, but I will let the hair sit in that style for a few days and then take it out and wear it for a few days. So it's a little bit like I can draw it out a bit. So I can get 7 to 12 days wear out of a wash.
And what about your hairdresser? What does she say when you come in there?
Oh, I don't have a hairdresser.
You do it yourself.
Yeah, I do it all myself. But I think if hairdressers are up for the work that it takes to maintain, I'd totally be down for like a what do they call them? The Korean head spa situation where you get to relax and you get the nice scalp massage. That would be cool.
So do people stop you in the street or on the subway or any Patty?
All the time. Yeah, I get compared to Diana Ross a lot, especially when, individuals see me, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so Diana Ross. You remind me of Diana Ross. That is what I get a lot on the street.
Awesome. Well, it looks great. Before I let you go, I want to ask you, how important is it as a woman to embrace who you are and your natural hair and all of that? And anyone ever trap you and say, go get a haircut, either at school or at work or anything like that?
Yeah, I used to get a lot of comments around, you should thin it out, you should straighten it, you should kind of wear it differently, slick it back, lay your edges. And for me, it just did not feel like it was authentic to myself and how I want to show up. Nor do I enjoy having the super tight looks or, feeling like my hair is not appropriate. And so I really do hope that people will see that natural hair is professional and you can style it in a very cute way that you feel comfortable and confident in. So I'm hoping that people will see that, and I'm hoping to see more curly hair in the workplace and all around.
Awesome. Jessica Martinez, congratulations from Queens.
Good for
amazing,
her.
right?
I'm glad, people telling her, do this to your hair. It's her hair. She wants to wear it the way she wants to wear it. That's the way it is. Who does these people tell people how to wear their hair?
I have the digits here, 6 feet long and 3 inches. She is the world record holder for the largest afro of a living female. And she's from our backyard right here in Queens. Jessica L. Martinez.
And she's doing it the way she wants to do it. And that's special. Now, I will have to admit, When I was in high school, I may shock you, I actually had a full afro. I wish I had a photo. I don't. A full afro.
We'll post the photo.
Quiet you. A full afro, and I wish I had the photos. I wish I knew in advance, and I'm very proud of her. But here, the difference between me and her,
yes,
is that she says she has shrinkage and it goes back and forth. Mine just shrunk. It's all gone. That's the difference between us.
That's the background to show.
And as you can tell, it's like no hair. It all shrunk. It's all gone. Mine don't come back. She comes back. She gets her hair back. I don't get my hair back. What's going on here? See, I'm not going to make the world book. Guinness ain't taking maybe for the boldest spot here. That's about the best I'm going to get.
Lou Albanese, you make every night more special when you join
try.
us.
I'm very proud of her.
We want to thank you all for
wear your hair
us.
the way you want. Don't let people tell you how to wear your hair. All these people telling you how to wear your hair.
We hope you join us tonight on the Fox 5 10 o'clock news. We are getting ready for a big broadcast. We have updates on all your top stories.
And we thank you again for
reporters
are getting their hair done, so we'll be good.
Right.
Everyone's going to wear their hair the way they want to hair it. That's it.
With a special shout out to Richard Giacobas for.
Thanks for watching Fox 5's Newsroom Live. We're now joining Live Now's non-stop stream of live and breaking news.
Refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army,
or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you. We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
So that was posted earlier this week. President Trump responding to it on social media with this. He says, "This is really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors, lock them up." President DJT. I believe we have one more here as well. It's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. We won't have a country anymore. An example must be set. I believe President Trump also sent out another post saying this is punishable by death. And one other post. Standing by is Mike Brest. He's a defense reporter for the Washington Examiner. Thanks for coming on, Mike. Do we know what exactly the Democrats, what type of situation Democrats are alluding to in that video?
So that's what's fascinating about the video that you just showed is that they were very vague in what they were talking about. They kept mentioning illegal orders, but they didn't specify what those illegal orders could be about, or if the president has, in their opinion, already given illegal orders. And so without the added context, it's left up for the viewer's interpretation of what they meant. And the president obviously feels very strongly in his interpretation.
So what is Trump saying is punishable by death? That punishable by death quote made a lot of headlines. Is he talking about military members who refuse orders? Is he pointing that at Democratic lawmakers who may be encouraging the behavior? Is it clear?
So I can only give a good educated guess. And so my belief is that the president is referring to the Democratic lawmakers who produced the video. And so the argument that I've seen several conservatives make is that the notion that they were referring to was actually they were trying to subtly tell them to disregard or not follow legal orders from the president. However, all of the lawmakers in that video were very clear in specifying don't listen to illegal orders. And so encouraging service members to not follow legal orders could be very problematic, which is where the president's opinion came into play there. But at the same time, the lawmakers were very clear in their language that in a reminder that service members by law can be held legally responsible if they follow an illegal order.
We do have the post. He said seditious behavior, punishable by death. Caroline Leavitt was asked about this earlier today at the White House press briefing. Let's listen shortly.
Nancy. Thanks, Caroline. This morning, President Trump accused 6 Democratic lawmakers of seditious behavior punishable by death. Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. let's be clear about what the president is responding to, because many in this room want to talk about the president's response, but not what brought the president to responding in this way. You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders. The sanctity of our military rests on the chain of command. And if that chain of command is broken, it can lead to people getting killed. It can lead to chaos. And that's what these members of Congress who swore an oath to abide by the Constitution